research advisor is Dr. Candace Chapman, and the title of my research is Trifolium praetens endophytes as value inoculants on Latuca sativa seeds. Red clover is a herbaceous plant belonging to the weed family that is native to Europe, Western Asia, and Northwest Africa. It is commonly used as a fodder crop, but can also exist in symbiotic relationships, supplying nitrogen needed for field crops. Red clover is a biennial plant and has a germination time of 2 to 3 days. It grows at a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius. Here we have the classification for red clover. Red clover belongs to Kingdom Plantae, division Mangoliophyta. The class is Mangoliopsida. The order is Fabulates. The family is Leguminosae. The genus is Trifolium, and the species is Trifolium praetens. The purpose of my research was to analyze the effect red clover has on the growth of lettuce. The materials that I used were distilled water, lettuce seeds, red clover seeds, planting trays, organic soil, and a greenhouse. My procedures. So I started out with 3 different planting trays. The lettuce and red clover were planted in planting trays that had 4 compartments, and the red clover and lettuce were planted in a wider tray so they can grow better, since it was going to be 2 plants growing at once. In the red clover and lettuce plants, each 4 of the compartments, I placed about 10 to 15 seeds in each of the 4 compartments, and I did the same with the lettuce. Then with the red clover and lettuce growing together, I sprinkled about 25 grams of red clover, and then I sprinkled 25 grams of the lettuce on top of that. When watering it, I watered it every 24 hours, and then I came back on Wednesdays and measured the heights of them weekly, and it was usually on a Wednesday morning. So here are my results. I did it over a 2-week period. So the first picture in figure 1 is a lettuce only. Figure 2 is lettuce with red clover, and figure 3 is red clover alone. In the picture with the lettuce and red clover, the lettuce is towards your left, and it's the lighter green. So on this chart, this is just some raw data of 20 plants in total that I measured. It was 10 of a lettuce only and 10 with lettuce with red clover. The green bar is a lettuce only, and the red bar is lettuce with red clover. As you can see, the red bar is higher than the lettuce alone. Week 2, figure 4 again is my lettuce only. Figure 5 is week 2, lettuce with red clover, and figure 6 is red clover only. My lettuce on this picture is towards the front, again in the lighter green. Again, this is another chart of just showing raw data of 20 lettuce plants that I chose. It's 10 of lettuce only and 10 with red clover with lettuce. So this chart is the average growth over a period of 10 weeks. It's showing exactly how red clover had an effect on the lettuce seeds. Week 1 is shown in green, and week 2 is shown in red. So we're going to start on the left-hand side of the chart. So week 1, lettuce alone was only at 5 centimeters. And in week 1, the lettuce with red clover had already grown to about 6 6 centimeters. And this is on average. This is the 10 plants that I chose, and I averaged them. So on average, it was actually 5.3 centimeters, and the lettuce with red clover was at 6.1 centimeters. And then week 2, my lettuce alone had only grown to 6.1 centimeters on average, and the lettuce with red clover had grown to 7.65 on average. With my red clover, I noticed that the red clover only was growing at a faster rate than the lettuce with red clover. So this is red clover only in the green for week 1, and this is red clover with lettuce. As you can see, the red clover only was at 4.1 centimeters, and the red clover with lettuce was only at like 3.6 centimeters. And then on week 2, my red clover had grown all the way up to 6.5, and the red clover with the lettuce was only at about 5 centimeters. So the red clover, when it's with the lettuce, it doesn't grow as fast as it grows when it's on its own. But the lettuce does grow better with the lettuce planted with it. So in my conclusion, red clover increases the growth rate of lettuce, and lettuce slows down the growth rate of red clover. My plans for future research is to isolate and characterize the beneficial endophytic bacteria from the red clover's rhizosphere to create an all-natural fertilizer that is not harmful for our environment. I also would like to characterize the endophytic bacteria that chelates heavy metals. My acknowledgments, I would like to acknowledge my mother, Deborah Hoffler, my research mentor, Dr. Candace Chapman, my mentor, Dr. Shannon Glinton, and the Department of Science, Math, and Health Professions. My references, and does anyone have any questions?
Go back to your references. Okay, while I'm reading those, any questions from students?
Yes, Ken?
What inspired you to work with red clover?
I didn't hear you.
What inspired you to work with red clover?
I just, honestly, when I looked at the list of weeds that Dr. Chapman gave me, like I looked at the pictures, I just liked how the red clover looked. And then after going on and researching and seeing that it does have a lot of different properties and it's beneficial in different ways, it just helped me to want to work with it even more.
Other questions?
The research has a commercial plan to it. What do you think about it? Will you talk to the people who grow lettuce and let them know that if they mix it with red clover, they will have better product or something like that?
When I get to that point, I would go to commercial people and be like, hey, red clover is beneficial for lettuce. But I have to get to that first.
You said for your follow-up to the research, you're going to analyze heavy metals. Why would you want to do that?
Well, it's 2 different parts. So the first part is just finding the endophytic bacteria that is helping the growth of lettuce, and then the endophytic to help chelate heavy metals. That's just, I want the whole, when I do make my fertilizer, I just want it to be all around helpful to people, like pulling out metals, helping growth. Like, that's just what I want to do. Dr. Mitchell, you had a question?
You said earlier in your presentation
Yes.
that the lettuce and clover are fodder crops.
Yes.
What is a fodder
A
crop?
fodder crop is usually just used as animal feed, like for pigs and cows and things of that nature.
So that answers my next question. How would you separate out, when you harvest, only the red clover from your lettuce? But it doesn't matter if you're using it as feed? Is that assumption correct? If you're gonna get a higher yield,
Mm-hmm.
by planting the clover and lettuce,
Correct.
it doesn't matter when you harvest if they are mixed together to use as a fodder.
Oh yeah, if it's a fodder crop, it could just be all in, but, when you're like just presenting the lettuce, you will have to separate the lettuce from red clover. Is that what you're asking? Okay.
And the other thing that you probably would need to look at is how close do they need to be in order to get that effect when you have the mixture of clover and lettuce?
Mhm.
Because I'm thinking the proximity is having some effect, depending upon the bacteria that's in the soil or the nematodes that are in the soil, in order for them to have some type of effect, cause one to grow better than the other.
Yes.
Other questions? Because I have a lot of them, I can keep asking.
Yeah, so, go forward one more, go forward one more. So that third one, forward,
Slow down.
right there, that third one down. Pronounce that correctly for
Oh,
me?
Lord.
Dr. Shannon Lantis.
I just need to make sure she kiss her, and then she gonna not pronounce it right there.
She kind of throw shade at messing up your name.
Yeah, she did it real slow and laugh. My name Ron, why you just all right, so question for you is, first of all, how did you determine that the plants had growth? Like, what was the way that you did it, how did you quantify it?
I did, measurements.
Using,
It was a ruler, like,
Don't act like that, no.
we don't know.
Don't be acting like I was no.
I thought I was answering it wrong, that's why. But I measured it with the ruler on the centimeter side.
So you literally pulled them up and
Mhm.
measured each
From
one?
the sprouts, I measured it from the base of the soil up to the highest sprout.
Okay, so piggybacking on that, what is considered like good growth for lettuce? Like, do they have a certain length that they're supposed to be able to get to, or is it just whatever we get when we can get?
A good sprout for lettuce, is about, before you like have to transfer it over, they said it's 60 centimeters before it has to be like transferred into like the whole big
Mhm.
soil ordeal.
To repot or?
Yeah, to the correct terminology
How many
is
centimeters?
60. So
60?
60. So I've only been growing this for 2 weeks, and when I measured it last week, they were already at, on average, was 7 point. The lettuce with red clover was at 7.65 centimeters, and the lettuce alone was at 5.7 centimeters.
Okay, and how long does it take to get to the 60 centimeters?
It says 60 days.
60 days?
Yes,
You've been doing it for 2 weeks?
these are 2 weeks.
Okay, all right,
You understand why she's asking that?
no.
No, not
Because what I'm excited about your project, in that at the early stages of your the plant development, you see a drastic difference in those that are mixed with clover and lettuce versus the ones just with lettuce alone. What I think she's asking is, you would be able to produce more biomass. The assumption, or my hypothesis would be, you're able to produce more lettuce biomass if sown with red clover, right? You would test that, waiting the 60 days and measuring the one that was just lettuce to see if it got to what the little seed packet told you it should, the average length should be. Is there a significant difference in the growth of the ones that were mixed over the one that was left alone? If that's the case, you would be able to have farmers producing way more.
Less time.
Exactly, and less money they would have to spend to feed their livestock with. So mama is looking at the money.
Get y'all to know, I'm about that money.
So a better way to make sure you have enough feed for your livestock is figuring this out, the ratio, characterizing. And when I hope you understand what Dr. Chapman means by characterization.
For the most part, I think.
First, you gotta isolate.
Isolate everything and then.
And
It's gonna
then
be a
tell
long-
what
it's
each
gonna be a
one
long
of them,
process.
what it
Yes.
is. So this is where your microbiology class comes in.
Mhm.
That unknown, that's enough, you figured out unknowns. If we had the funds, we could take that sample and send it out, they can analyze it and send you your results back in a couple of days. But what you're gonna have to do is follow those steps that you did before to identify your unknown in microbiology. Then you know what types of bacteria are present. You'll look at their characteristics to see what benefit are they to the lettuce or to the red clover. And here it says you're gonna use this as fertilizer, not as feed,
No,
not
it's,
fodder.
that's just, the fodder crop, that was just a fun fact of red clover.
Oh.
Yes.
So it led me down the wrong road. I thought we were trying to increase the feed for the,
No, they're gonna use it as the fertilizer so that they can accumulate the metals out of the soil. That's what they're looking to do, using red clover. I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
So why do you think that the combination of plants did better growth? Like, what is it about the red clover that's having an effect on the lettuce that causes it to grow better than just lettuce alone?
Because, red clover, it is able to supply nitrogen to field, to different crops. So it is supplying the needed nitrogen for the lettuce in order to grow. And it's doing that by, it's like in the root area, as the root grows, it breaks off inside the soil and it stays in the soil and allows for other plants to grow better.
so the decomposition
Of
of,
the red clover to roots supplies nitrogen needed for
So
physical.
does it die then?
It's not,
When you say decomp, to me,
it means die.
death.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, cause I was looking at a paper for it, and it's like, it didn't make complete sense to me, cause it's like, as the root dies, that's when it supplies the nitrogen, but the plant itself doesn't technically die, and I was like,
Well, if the roots die, the plant don't die, that's like the brain dying
in the body.
and the body staying alive. See how, without some help, see how that kind of,
she needs to describe and tell us what a rhizosphere is.
Rhizosphere is the roots of the plant.
That, do all plants have rhizomes? So clover has it, but not the lettuce. Just get some of that coating grass. Because if you don't kill that rhizome, it's gonna continue to come back. So it can lose parts of it, but still the plant can survive. So I
So it needs to
get
be
it.
engineered.
all right, and so my third question was, okay, so go back to your results of the combination,
Because it's your chart.
yeah, right there. So my question to you is, what is the difference between lettuce with red clover and red clover with lettuce?
The difference is the lettuce with red clover are the lettuces that I
Did you say
measured.
lettuces? Did you just say lettuces?
Check stuff.
Red clover lettuce.
Lettuce.
The lettuce with red clover are the lettuce sprouts that I measured, and red clover with lettuce are the red clover sprouts that I measured. They're in the same pot, but it was different sprouts. So lettuce with red clover were just the lettuce sprouts that I measured, and then in the same pot, the red clover with lettuce are the red clover sprouts that I measured.
So you want to explain it again, because it sounds like to me, so are you saying that you use sprouts and lettuce and
red clover, what did you use? So this one over here, is that just lettuce, not the sprouts, but just lettuce and then red clover sprouts? Or is it lettuce sprouts and red clover sprouts together? Like, I'm about to get real technical, so
Can I,
you might wanna stop.
can we go back to the picture and I can
I get what
just
you're
to
saying
show
now.
you?
That,
I'm gonna
the
go,
way it's labeled is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the picture, so this one will be better. So, this is the pot with the red clover and lettuce together.
Right.
So, the green ones, when I measured lettuce with red clover, I was only measuring these green ones, the lighter green ones. And then with the label of red clover with lettuce, it was just the red clover sprouts. It's in the same container, but
So then what's the difference on the results? Because if you have, yes, so if you have, so that's what my question is this lettuce sprouts and then like, for example, if it's lettuce sprouts and then liquid red clover, and then you use red clover sprouts in liquid lettuce, or how, what is the difference? Because it is misleading on this graph, because to me it's like the same thing. So what made them different for you to have different results?
I was showing.
The way to answer a question,
Yes.
explain, go bar by bar from left to right. Tell us what is the green bar, first one.
Okay, so the green bar, the first green bar is week one, lettuce only.
Lettuce what? Lettuce sprouts, or just lettuce leaves, lettuce what?
The lettuce sprouts
Okay.
that they all started growing at the same time. So it's the lettuce sprout. The second bar, red bar, is the lettuce week two, the lettuce sprouts. The third bar, this green bar, is lettuce with red clover, week one. And then this is week two, red lettuce with red clover. And then this is red clover week one, red clover week two, red clover with lettuce week one, and lettuce with red clover week two.
I get it now. I understand. It's,
It, maybe like
if
if
you
I
had
go do the green
separated
bars,
them out by a week and only show week one data, then week two on another chart. Yeah. I get it now. You gotta make sure she gets it.
yes.
So that's what I'm asking, like, what is the difference? You got lettuce sprouts with red clover what? Sprouts,
It's the seedlings that grew.
okay. So then on the last one, you got a red clover sprouts with lettuce sprouts again?
Yes, it's the same pot, it was just a different plant that I measured. Instead of measuring the lettuce twice, I measured the red clover out of that pot.
So you didn't measure the first time?
So the
I did.
one side of it is just dealing with
The,
lettuce only first.
Okay,
And then the other, on the right-hand side, her primary thing is red clover only, over 1 week, 2 week period. So it's like she's showing four experiments on one chart. So she's showing lettuce by itself, 1 week, lettuce and red clover, 1 week, and then the same thing again, after 2 weeks. On the other side, red clover measurements for 1 week.
Mhm.
Red clover and lettuce, 2 weeks. Right? With red clover only, you got data for 1 week.
yeah, the green bar
And then red clover after
With
2
lettuce.
weeks.
is the red bar.
If your data, yeah. If it took that much to interpret, you should take a pause or look at it. Is that the best way to present it?
I'm still not sure, but I'm telling you why I keep asking, because it's misleading and it's a little, I'm confused, because the difference between lettuce and red clover and lettuce, like, to me, that's just the same, two different sides of the same coin. So that's the reason why I'm asking that, like, what did you do differently if you found it necessary to separate the results like that? Like, you have to be able to,
So The measurements for the lettuce only and red clover only, they're actually growing alone. In separate pots.
I get that.
But the lettuce and red clover, lettuce with red clover and red clover with lettuce, that is the same pot. But when, the lettuce with red clover is just
Oh, I see what you're saying, so the second one is you just did just lettuce only,
in the,
but, okay, so that might need to be labeled a different kind of way.
Yes.
Cause it is very misleading, cause it makes you think like I said, two sides of the same coin, like what is the difference? So you might wanna just look at,
Separates.
yeah, presenting that in a different kind of way.
Cause that right there is promising data.
Yes,
Because
Definitely.
definitely what happens when you get to day 60
yes.
and you take your measurements, if the pot I should tell you.
Because based upon your results, it looks like red clover has a better effect on lettuce than lettuce has on red
red
clover.
clover, yes,
And it should, that's what you want, right?
Yes, because of the rhizosphere, right?
correct.
Okay. All right, so cool, now, we're together on one accord. Cause I was gonna beat you down because I didn't understand what was going on. I appreciate you,
It's very promising.
yes, you have, it is very promising. So for step 2, you're gonna try to develop this fertilizer, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what steps are you looking to take to develop this fertilizer? Like,
I just
you
want
just
to,
gonna be looking at fertilizer with lettuce, like a bunch of ground up lettuce and red clover? Or you gonna add juices and berries to it, like, how you gonna do this?
first I have to figure out what the bacteria, the growth promoting bacteria is, and then,
So it needs to be isolated.
yes.
Okay.
And then once I do that, I'm gonna more than likely do another experiment and with the separated bacteria and see which one is actually making it grow rather than the more regular one. So, and then I'll get to the fun part of fertilizer part.
Yeah, definitely have.
All right. Any other questions for Nikki?
Very